Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. If you're not aware, I'm actually pregnant, and this is just an update of what's been going on in my journey. I've had this great, crazy roller coaster of emotions experience that's been happening lately. So as of recently, I found out I have gestational diabetes, something that I had before in my first pregnancy. I actually spoke about this in my last video. My clinic had sent me to a high risk hospital. According to them, they wanted to just transfer me over because they can help me a lot better on the process. So I went and I had an appointment with them. They wanted to, put me in a diet, which is not a big issue for me because I was already eating healthy. I guess they were like judging in a way because I am a bigger size woman, and they probably assumed that I don't eat healthy. I probably eat like junk all this time, which is not the case. They were telling me that they were going to give me the glucose machine. They wanted me to monitor my sugar levels, which was fine because I can just do it myself. I had to go back and tell them like, hey, I never received the machine. There was a problem. I'm not sure. So I had to wait a week and a half for the next appointment. And then that day, there was something that happened. So I had woken up and I wasn't feeling really well. The heat was getting to me because it was really hot that day, and I had this sore throat for some reason. So my mom tried to help me to feel better, so she made some tea for me. I didn't know, or she didn't know, that tea already had sugar in it. So I guess you know where this is going if you already figured it out at this point. Then I had a Halls, which was my mistake in my part, and then I had breakfast. And my breakfast alone wouldn't be able to skyrocket my sugar levels. But I felt it in my body because when they were checking my blood pressure, I was telling them, I was like, I feel like my sugar level might have gone up a little bit because I do feel it in my body. My sugar level was off the roofs, basically. It was really high. It was on 221, which is very, very risky and very dangerous, which I understand, but it's not something that happens often or at all that I'm aware of. I told them, I was like, I would have known ahead of time, and I would have been more accurate and more careful if I actually gotten my glucose machine to monitor my sugar. But I never did. I explained to them because I had to think back. They were like, what did you eat? And I was like, well, I had a small sandwich, whole wheat sandwich with cheese or something, and then I might have had coffee, a very small amount of coffee with milk but no sugar. And they're like, well, I don't think that would skyrocket your sugar. Might gone up a little bit, but I don't think that would be the reason. So then I had to think back, and I'm like, oh, it must have been that tea that I had in the cough drop. When I had to really think about it, what kind of tea it was, I was like, maybe it already had sugar in it. The doctors started freaking out. They were telling me, this can cause death to your baby, and some of them were being very nice, but then there's some of them were being very rude in a way, because they were basically telling me that I'm being reckless, which is not the case. I was just not feeling well, and I thought a tea and cough drop might have helped me, but I guess I was mistaken. One of the doctors comes to me and she's like, yeah, we're gonna have to admit you. And I'm like, what? And then she's like, yeah, we're gonna have to put you into the hospital. We're gonna have to put you on observation to make sure that your sugar levels don't go out of whack. And I'm like, so can I take my son with me? Because I had my son with me. And they're like, no, that department, they don't allow any children. And I'm like, I don't have anyone that can stay with my child. So I had to call my mother that literally just went into work so she can come and pick up my toddler. And I'm like, okay, I'm already kind of freaking out. I was actually crying because I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, man, I really screwed up. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll just stay how they told me, and I'll let them observe me. Maybe they're right. There's a few things that bother me. First of all, I noticed the pattern that they would do on food. The food for diabetics, technically you're supposed to be eating lower in carbs and much more vegetables and lean protein, or at least that's the understanding that I have. But I noticed they were much higher in carbs, you can say. Not higher, there was more portion size. It was much bigger in carbs. I didn't pay too much attention to it at the beginning because I was starving. I was there all day and I didn't eat until they finally fed me. Around the third meal, maybe the last meal I had that day, I put it together. I was like, why do they give me so much carbs in my food? I just don't understand. If this is supposed to be diabetic food, in the nighttime, on the first day, they gave me some sugar graham cracker cookies or something. I'm not sure what it was. And I looked at that and then like fruit, and I'm like looking at it like, so how does this help me lower my sugar, and how does this help me in general? The next day they gave me oatmeal, they gave me French toast, they gave me fruit, and I'm like, where's the lean protein and the vegetable? At this point, I'm like, okay, this is really wrong. This is wrong. I know. So I had to question the lady that the people that would bring the meals, but they're like, it's out of their hand at that point. They just deliver. If you're enjoying this video so far and you've gotten something out of it, don't forget to like this video and share out your story with me. Have you experienced something like this? I want to know. So later that day, in the second day, they gave me pasta with 3 meatballs and spinach. So what I ended up doing was not eating this pasta at all, and I just eat the meat and the spinach, which I ended up still being hungry because it was barely anything. It's like a little small amount of spinach and like 3 meatballs, and I was like, this is not gonna fill me up, but whatever. I'm gonna just eat it. My sugar levels were actually pretty normal. After that, I saw them at one point. I was like, listen, I can actually do all of this at home. I don't see the point already to be here. I can literally make my own food at home. I can monitor my sugar levels as long as I get the glucose machine. Besides that, I felt like they were trying to force insulin to me. I never had taken insulin. I never took it the first pregnancy. Why should I take it to the second one? It was just weird to me. I had diabetes in my first pregnancy, and I spoke about this in my last video. I felt like they were trying to force it on me. They gave me insulin in the hospital, but I didn't really agree with it. I told them I wanted to leave. They were telling me I had to sign some papers. That took forever because nobody was communicating. It was a mess. Because I had one doctor telling me that I was leaving that day, and then I had another doctor telling me that there was no way I was leaving because my sugar level was too high. And I'm just like, okay, y'all not communicating. Like, y'all not communicating, and it's really irritating me. And then I had these nurses like coming to me saying, you know that having your sugar levels that high can make you lose the baby and things like that. And I'm like, you guys are making me sound like I'm irresponsible just because I did a mistake. Sorry to say, but that's y'all faults too, because if y'all would have given me the glucose machine from the beginning, this would have never happened, and I could have avoided this. She was telling me that I have to take insulin because they're gonna prescribe it to me, and in my head I'm like, I'm not gonna take that. Because while they were giving me the insulin at the hospital, I felt like instead of helping me, it was making me worse. It was spiking up my sugar level more. And well, it could have been that, or it could have been the food that they were giving me. But I feel like personally, insulin was not helping me. One of the last things that happened was when before I got discharged, the doctor was telling me, so we have to cut out all your carbs. So you're not allowed to have any bread, any rice, and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, that really sucks. Made a promise to myself that for this week, for the week before I have my next appointment with the high risk clinic, I will monitor my sugar and make sure my sugar levels are well only through food and exercise. And that's what I've been doing. And everything's been going well so far. I'm making sure that everything's on track. This whole week has been fantastic. If I only could show you guys the chart, you see how normal my sugar levels are because I'm controlling it myself. And I feel a lot happier doing it myself, and I feel stress-free. And I'm gonna just show you guys the journey from here on. If you haven't watched my recent video on my last pregnancy, I will post it up on one of these two sides. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you got some sort of knowledge or something from this video, and I'll see you guys next time.